Each year, more than 3 lakh students take CAT for their Indian MBA admission dream. And out of those, only approximately 3,000 to 4,000, at max 6,000, get into the top Indian MBA colleges. It depends on which institutes do you consider as the top Indian MBA colleges, which means that the acceptance rate at these B schools is around 1% to 2%, because 3.5 lakhs to around 3,000, 4,000 final admits. The problem is that the remaining students, the students who don't get into it, they feel that probably there is no other option. Probably, oh my god, now they'll have to appear for CAT again next year, and they really hustle and spend all of their time thinking about Indian MBA exams. My objective in this video is to broaden your horizons, to tell you that probably you could consider MBA abroad, and what are the factors. See, you could see a lot of factors in front of you, and I'll be speaking about all of them. What are the factors which you need to consider whether you should be going for MBA abroad or not? This video is going to be one comprehensive video, probably the only video you need to make this choice whether you should think about MBA in India or MBA abroad. Hi, I'm Darpan Saxena, an MBA graduate from Udaipur. I have been the MBA Product Head at Career Launcher. I'm the founder of Creatum, and I help MBA students create fulfilling careers without depending on placements. Usually the factors which students account for when they are making this choice whether it should be MBA in India or MBA in abroad are these. Probably you would have thought about a few of these, probably a lot of these, all of these, but my objective is to give you a very comprehensive analysis, including my opinions, my thoughts, certain facts, so that by the end of this video, when we reach this point of strategic thought process, you will be able to make a choice for yourself. That is what my objective is. Now, without further ado, let me start off by talking about one of the most important things, because that is where this thought process of whether we should pursue MBA in India or whether we should pursue MBA abroad, it starts. It basically starts from applicant profile, tumhari profile, your profile. Why exactly that? Because now here is the thing. A lot of these programs have criterias that, okay, you need to have certain years of experience for you to be able to be at this program and all of those things. One misconception which a lot of students have, which I'll be breaking in this video, is that people think that अरे MBA जो MBA program होता है, also you would not know that there is something known as MBA and there is something known as MIM. ये दो अलग चीजें हैं. I'll be explaining this in this video. Now, a lot of students have this misconception that for the MBA programs abroad at the best of the institutes like Wharton and all of those things, they need certain years of experience. अरे experience नहीं होगा तो will not get admission to that. It's not true. That is what is one of the things which I'll be speaking about in this video. Now see, broadly, let's talk about applicant profile. If you are a fresher or you have less than 2 years of experience, here is what your options are. You have in India, you have CAT, through which you can get into the IIMs. You have ZAT, through which you get into XLRI, SNAP, through which you can get into Symbiosis Group of Institutes, NMAT, Vanasi Monji, and a few other, all of these institutes have a lot of options in India, including the ISB's 2-year program, which is the PGPYL Young Leaders Program, which was recently introduced last year. So they take CAT for that. Now, in abroad, you have two options. You have MIM and you have MBA. MIM stands for what? MIM stands for Masters in Management. Now, here is something which you need to know. Outside of India, MIM programs are open to those who have less than 2 years of work experience, which means that जो India में तुम्हारा normal 2-year MBA program होता है, even at the IIMs, if you were to go abroad, they consider the Indian MBA programs as MIM programs, as a MIM degree, not a MBA one. Why? Because Indian MBA programs, the 2-year programs, do not have a criteria that, okay, certain number of years of experience you need to have. तो इसलिए abroad, India का MBA program is usually considered as an MIM, but that's not what is important. What you need to know is that when you, as somebody who has less than 2 years of experience, is applying abroad, you can mostly apply to MIM programs. Also, you can apply to certain MBA programs. अब फर्क एक और है. MIM programs are usually more than 12 months, can go up till 18 months. MBA programs are usually 10 to 12 months at max. तो 1 year का MBA. अब आते हैं थोड़ा और इसमें आगे. Let's talk about if suppose you have 3 to 5 years of experience. Now, what happens here is that you still have all of those options which we had already, and plus for your MBA abroad, suddenly you have more number of options, because now you have qualified that criteria to have more than 2 years of experience, and now certain more MBA programs abroad जिनका criteria होता है कि at least 2 साल का work experience होना चाहिए, वो भी खुल जाते हैं. तो हमारे पास options will be, we'll be speaking about these, that which institutes and all those things. Also, if you need a video on which institute should you apply for, and also can you get to MBA abroad programs using CAT score and not have to appear for a GMAT. If you want that video, that which institutes abroad, great institutes can you apply using CAT, do not forget to like the video and let me know in the comments that you need that video so that I can make that. Now the point is, my dear friends, between 3 to 5 years तुम्हारे पास अब GMAT से और भी इंस्टीट्यूट्स अब्रॉड खुल जाते हैं, बिकॉज उनका 2+ years का क्राइटेरिया जो MBA के लिए बहुत सारे इंस्टीट्यूट्स को चाहिए होता है वो ओपन हो जाता है. अब इस पॉइंट पे मुझे एक मिसकंसेप्शन और तुम्हारी ब्रेक करनी होगी. वो मिसकंसेप्शन ये है दैट अ लॉट ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स थिंक दैट फॉर अस टू गेट इनटू MBA programs, which is usually the 1-year program, MBA programs abroad, we need to have a certain amount of work experience. I will break that misconception instantly, that you need to check this information institute by institute. Why? I'll take you to the website of Wharton, the top 5 or the top 3 MBA institute in the world, and you'd be surprised about what I'm about to show you. Now we're on the website of Wharton, if you can see this, and if we go here, there is this question, how much work experience do most accepted students have? Is there a particular type of work experience which Wharton seeks? तो उधर सब किया है उन्होंने explain that the average student has worked for around 5 to 6 years. इससे मैं एक और point draw करूंगा, but the most important point which I want to draw is that the Wharton MBA program does accept early career candidates with limited to no experience who exhibit strong managerial and this. Even without experience, you could be a fresher and you could still be at Wharton. That is the point which I want to drive home. तो ये misconception है, ये बहुत लोग clear कर नहीं रहे हैं. मेरा फर्ज बनता है clear करना. See, this video is going to be a long video because this video is for somebody. It is for you who has very less idea about MBA abroad but is broadly thinking about it कि क्या करना है. तो ये patience वाली होगी and इसमें you need to watch this very carefully because a lot of things will change in your head after you watch this. Now getting back to what we were talking about. Now if you have 5 years of experience, here is how things change. In India now, suddenly you have the options to apply to PGPX, which means the PGP Executive MBA programs. अब Executive MBA programs का India में scene ये है that you need at least 5 years of work experience. इसमें कुछ exceptions हैं. For example, if you check the criteria of IIM Ahmedabad, they say that even if you have 4 years of experience, it is acceptable. तो IIM Ahmedabad का PGPX का criteria is minimum 4 years of work experience. IIM Bangalore और IIM Calcutta का है 5 years each basically. मगर इसमें दिक्कत क्या है कि अब इंडिया में PGPX की options बहुत कम है जो कि अच्छे हैं. Because क्यों? Why am I saying that? Because if you have 5 years of experience, I'm assuming you'd be at a certain salary, and we'll be talking about salary and everything afterwards. Therefore, the quality of institutions for which you should consider PGPX वो इंडिया में बहुत है ही नहीं. इंडिया में मुश्किल से 7-8 अच्छे टॉप लेवल के भी स्कूल्स हैं. Whereas now suddenly abroad you have so many options. Just now we were on the website of Wharton and it said that the average मतलब इससे ज्यादा भी है. The average work experience is 6 to 7 years. So that is the beauty, because then now every MBA program around the world is up for grabs for you. And एक और चीज है यहाँ पे, एक और चीज I have to address. A lot of students say, sir मेरी age बहुत हो गई. जब when I talk to students who are interested in Indian MBA, they come to me and they say, sir I'm 25, I'm very old. And I say, yeah, 25 old नहीं है. मैं जब IIM में था, मेरे बैच में 29 years के भी लोग थे. When I was around 24, that's absolutely fine. But चलो कोई बात नहीं अगर तुम्हें फिर भी लगता है. The good thing is that when you go to these top MBA programs abroad, उनकी average age ही my dear friends 27, 28, 29, even 30 भी होती है. I'll substantiate this with an example. Now if I go to the website of NUS, which is National University of Singapore. Now I'll show you this website. Here we are. It is the website of NUS, and if I scroll down here, they have shown the class profile. You would be surprised that for their full-time MBA program, the average age, my dear friends, is 29 years of age. It's 6 years of work experience. What you need to understand is that MBA करने की कोई एज नहीं है. ये तो अब्रॉड का है केस, तो मगर इंडिया में भी होते I would have advised you, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. बहरहाल, the point which I am trying to drive home is that if we were to look at applicant profile, if I am talking about your profile, profile. These are the options you have in front of you. I shared these names because now when we will be talking about all the other factors, it will become very simple for you to understand. It would be great if you could like the video, subscribe to the channel. There's a reason why I'm saying that, because if you're genuinely thinking about MBA abroad with a CAT score or a GMAT score, I'll be bringing out a few more videos. I should be on your feed more often so that I can help you channelize your thoughts. Do not forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Now moving on, let me talk about some other very important criteria which we miss, whether you are a student who's seeing this or somebody from your family. Agar aap ek parent bhi hai, this is important. You need to watch this video completely for you to make the evaluation. Now I'll move on to acceptance rate and the competition. ये थोड़ा competition की चीज है थोड़ा यहाँ पे, which may be important. Now one thing which I would like to say to you upfront is that it is easier to get into a decent global B school than a top tier Indian B school. I'll substantiate that with an example. How? In India, there are 3.35 lakh applicants or students who appear for CAT. In the good tier 1 institutes, there are not more than anywhere between 3,000 to 6,000 seats. The reason why I'm giving you such a broad range of 3,000 to 6,000 is because it is up to you what you think as a good institute for you. When I'm saying 4,000, I am assuming that I am talking about these top 10 institutes of the country at an average of 400 seats at each institute. It is approximately 4,000 seats. But somebody, he might say that, nahi sir, we should also include IFT in it or an MDI in it. तो वो 6,000 तक भी पहुंच जाएगा. It is up to you. The point is, my dear friends, when you have 3.3 lakh applicants who are taking CAT and the final admission is around 4,000 students, you have a selection criteria, these tier 1 institutes of around 1.5 to 2% at max. Chalo, agar aap, even if you're very liberal about where you can do your MBA, this would at max go to a 2.5%. That's it. That is the selection criteria. But when you talk about MBA abroad, the M7 institutes, M7 क्या होते हैं अभी आएगा, you learn a lot of these things. M7 are the top 7 MBA institutes in the world. They have an acceptance rate of 6 to 8%, way more than the acceptance rate at an IIM Ahmedabad, Bangalore and Calcutta, which are these 6 to 7, 8% wale. You'd be shocked because when I'll open this list, you will see names like Harvard, Stanford, Wharton, Columbia, MIT Sloan, Kellogg, Chicago Booth. These are the M7. These are called as the M7 institutes. और ये तो बात है M7 की. The moment you go for other institutes in the US and the Europe, again, if you want me to make a video on what are these top tier institutes and all of those things, let me know in the comments, but I'll still help you right now. If you want to know what are these top institutes, you can do one very simple thing. Go to the website of QS Rankings. That is one of the most credible rankings for all the MBA and MIM institutes around the world, and you will find this. Suddenly, if you remove these M7 top institutes, remaining institutes have an acceptance percent of 15 to 35%, which suddenly means that while it might be a very, while you might think that it's a big deal to get into a very top MBA college, अरे वो हार्वर्ड गया है भैया, हार्वर्ड जाना शायद अगर पैसा है और अगर इंटेंट है तो हार्वर्ड, और अगर प्रोफाइल भी है तो हार्वर्ड जाना शायद IIM अहमदाबाद जाने से आसान है. दैट्स द फैक्ट. तो ये जो उद्देश्य है मेरा, जो इसका पूरा वीडियो का जो एक ऑब्जेक्टिव है, वो है कि अगर एक हवा बना हुआ है, इफ यू थिंक इट इज टू बिग अ ड्रीम, it may be not that bigger dream. That is what I want to say to you. And by the end of this video, my objective is that however much time you spend on this video, it will be of value because you'll be able to arrive at a choice what you need to do. It is pretty clear. It is easier to get into a top decent B school. That is that. Moving on from there, the next criteria is the cost of education. And in this case, there would be a clear outcome, but it is still important to speak about it. When you talk about the Indian MBA program, just in case you don't know, just in case you're a fresh aspirant or a parent of that student who does not know about it, in India, the top institutes, which is IIM Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta, their fees is around 28 to 33 lakh all inclusive. इसमें मैंने सब कुछ include कर लिया. To an extent, I have also included somewhere the exchange program in it. हो सकता है, ठीक है, अगर आप बहुत ज़्यादा शौकीन हैं, इफ़ यू वांट टू स्पेंड मोर, ट्रैवल मोर, दिस माइट गो टू as high as a 35 lakh, but that is somewhere the outer range of it. If you were to go to ISB Hyderabad, that fee would go to a 42 to 45 lakh because उनकी फीस ज़्यादा है. This is the approximate idea which you need to have for an Indian MBA program. Now, the moment you go to MBA abroad, things change significantly. It is double or in case triple as well, because now when you're talking about Europe, some of the best institutes or even a good institute would charge you around 60 to 80 lakh. This does not include a lot of other things. This is the broad idea. And the moment you go to US, some of the top MBA institutes over there, it lands you at around 90 to 1.2 CR, 90 lakh to 1.2 CR. You can easily add a 10 to 20 lakhs on top of that also, because it depends on how do you like to live and how lavishly you spend money on luxuries, on fun. My objective is to give you broad ranges so that you know broad idea क्या है. Now you clearly know that okay, cost effective तो इंडिया का बी स्कूल है, मगर अब यहाँ पे सिर्फ कॉस्ट की बात नहीं है. यहाँ पे एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है ROI, रिटर्न ऑन इन्वेस्टमेंट, एंड व्हाट इज गोइंग टू बी द सैलरी व्हिच यू गोना अर्न फ्रॉम दीज इंस्टीट्यूट. बिकॉज हो सकता है शायद कि अच्छा अब्रॉड में अगर हम 1 करोड़ दे रहे हैं तो क्या सैलरी भी 1 करोड़ की मिल रही है वहां पे. देखते हैं, इसका आंसर यहाँ पे होगा. एंड व्हाइल यू माइट थिंक दैट हाँ यार वो हमारा एक फ्रेंड था, दैट फ्रेंड ही वेंट टू सम गुड MBA program in the US, he got a salary of 80 lakhs equivalent to India, so that is great, but is that 80 lakhs? It's probably not, and that is what you'll know in this video. Now moving on, let's talk about ROI, because this is where things significantly change. Now when I talk about India, it is very clear. The average salaries at these institutes, I talked about I am Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta. I'll extend it a bit more. I'm Lucknow, I'm Kozhikode, XLRI, some of these top institutes. Your average could be anywhere between 20 lakhs to 35 lakhs. मैं चलो 25 भी नहीं बोलता, मैं कहता हूँ 20 lakhs भी है. In hand जो है तुम्हारा, in hand the fixed component somewhere at an average comes to around 15 to 20 lakh. This actually can be more also. This is more if you are at a good institute like an IIM Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta, get a job role in finance or in sales or in consulting and all of those things, and you can clearly understand कि यार एक सेकेंड 25-30 लाख रुपए की हमने दी फीस और इन हैंड हमें 15 से 20 लाख है. मतलब अगर ROI के हिसाब से फी सीट 1.5 to 2 years में का इसका एक ROI है भाई. ठीक है, if you don't want to pay off the loan as quickly as you can, then okay, this would go at max to 3 years or at max 4 years. But then by that time, I know I have had friends, I am 5 years out of MBA or even like 6 years out of MBA. None of my friends have their loans as of right now. That's that. Now let's talk about abroad, because here is where things change. Now the average gross salaries, if you check the websites of some of these institutes, is around $100,000 to $130,000 US, which translates to somewhere around 80 to 90 lakh gross. Now if you see this is effectively 45 to 50 lakh in hand. But here is something which we need to factor in. Now there is something known as PPP, which is purchasing power parity, which means that if you account for the fact that how much are the living expenses there, and if you were to see it in terms of the living expenses in India, and then you see, then what you'll actually understand is that the PPP adjusted salary, that salary will give you a feeling as if you're earning 25 lakh basically, because the things over there in a US or in a UK or wherever you're working abroad are also expensive. Therefore the kind of life which you will live in India at 25 lakh is the kind of life which you live at 25 lakh there. So now somewhere, because you've spent around 80 lakhs or 90 lakh in your fee and your actual in hand becomes something around 25 lakh, because जब आपने fee pay करी थी, again you have to understand this, जब आपने fee pay करी थी, you paid it from India when you were in India. Therefore it is very important for you to check this PPP adjusted salary, because then suddenly you realize that your ROI isn't that great. It is around 4 years, 5 years भी हो सकती है. That is the picture which you need to understand. Now suddenly you would realize that okay, this is an expensive affair. This is an expensive affair. So which means something very clearly, that salary in itself is clearly not the factor basis which I was thinking about pursuing MBA abroad. And अब जब आगे हम आएंगे you would realize a few more things. But एक misconception I hope मैंने आपका break कर दिया है कि salary in itself, that अरे बाहर जा रहे हैं, ज़्यादा पैसा दे रहे हैं, US है तो US की salaries मिल रही हैं, but the starting salary is giving you an equivalent feeling similar to what you'd get at the top institute. So if you see in terms of the outcomes, numerical outcome, it's very similar if you were to go to a top MBA college in India and were to go to a top or a decent MBA college outside. The other thing which you need to see it is that, you know, a lot of students, they say to me, कि sir, अगर मैंने बाहर से MBA करी and if I come back to India, will that MBA be appreciated higher than this? No. That MBA, तो इसमें एक और issue ये भी है कि अगर आप मान लो बाहर से आपने करी MBA and if you're trying to find a job in India, it is not going to give you a premium in salary. You would be seen as similar to what somebody from an IIM Ahmedabad, IIM Bangalore, IIM Calcutta is. So India में अगर वापस भी आते हो तो बाहर का जो आपने एक्स्ट्रा दिया है पैसा, उसका कोई प्रीमियम आपको सैलरी में मिल नहीं रहा है. So effectively which means सैलरी तो चॉइस नहीं है. आगे आएंगे जब अब मैं इस पे आऊंगा कि what should be the strategic thought process for you to think about whether you should do MBA abroad or not is this. But before that, I have these two important factors. Placement. How can this be ignored? Placements. And how do you get placements? Now, a very simple thing you need to know. India has a beautiful process for placements. If you were thinking just placements and forgetting every other factor, suppose you're somebody who does not have any fascination towards going abroad and this and that, and you know what? Fascination and fixation of going abroad is probably the biggest factor which is going to be a decision making factor. And I'll be speaking about when I'll be talking about the strategic thing. But the point which I'm trying to make home is that this thing, that Indian MBA programs have a structured placement process. You know this, that companies come to the campus to hire you for internship to get you placements. And ये इतना beautiful process है कि अब students ने इसको अपना हक समझ लिया है. Now the students feel entitled. अरे मेरी placement कैसे नहीं हुई, ये तो मेरा हक है, ये तो मैंने जो फीस दी है इसमें तो placement included है. किसी ने नहीं बोला आपकी फीस में placement included. But just because your Indian B school is kind enough to arrange for placements and just because it has become a tradition, you as a student have felt, you know, are starting to feel entitled that, oh, you know what, 15 students are still unplaced at our college, this is a bad institute. नहीं भाई, क्यों bad institute है? कि वो 80 to 90% को place करा रहा है. अगर अच्छा है institute like IIM Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta, XLRI, वो तो within 3 days the batch gets placed, 4 days, at max a week the batch gets placed. This does not happen abroad, because what happens abroad is that there is no concept of placements. The companies are not coming to campus. It is dependent on networking. Sure, the B schools do have a career services team, but their objective is not to arrange placements. Their objective is to help you find out that, okay, probably which companies you could apply to outside. They don't take the responsibility for this. Just like in an Indian MBA B school, it's the placecom sweats over the fact that yaar placement new shit yaar, oh my god, all of those things. Now there's a second problem also. In a lot of these countries, especially now in the US and sometimes also in the UK, there are a lot of problems about whether you would get work visa there or not. What are their government policies and the current geopolitical situation? It depends on that. In this, the ease of getting a job, India wins hands down. But should that in itself be a factor that you should say कि नहीं यार इंडिया में MBA ये बहुत बड़ा फैक्टर है, बिकॉज आप MBA कर रहे हैं फॉर अ जॉब, अनलेस ऑफ कोर्स यू आर लेकिन जॉब तो मिल जाएगी मुझे, अभी तो MBA का एक्सपोजर लेना है, तो बात अलग है, उस पर भी हम लास्ट में आएंगे. नाउ वन मोर फैक्टर विच आई विल स्पीक अबाउट, विच इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फैक्टर, बिकॉज दिस इज अबाउट योर पोस्ट MBA लाइफ, द वर्क कल्चर एंड द लाइफ स्टाइल. सी इन इंडिया what works for you is that one thing. I'll start from here. It's a very fast growing economy. The economy is growing and opportunities are coming, and along with that you are in an ecosystem which is familiar. Things are easier here. When we go to abroad, उसके भी फायदे हैं. उसके फायदे क्या हैं? You have cleaner air. The systems implemented by the government are very effective. That is absolutely good, and especially the work-life balance abroad is exceptional. They are very clear that, okay, how many hours we have to spend on work and then how many hours are our own private hours. Our employer cannot approach us. In India, there's a problem. In India, there is an assumption that each and every hour of yours belongs to me. One of my earlier bosses actually said this to me on phone. He's from IIM Calcutta. He said, at your age, I was around like 24 or 25. He said, at your age, each and every hour of yours belongs to me. I was like, I left that company. The point which I'm trying to make is that it's a different culture in the work environment, in the kind of lifestyle you can live. Abroad wins. But then again, is that a factor because of which you'll pursue an MBA abroad, or you can do something else also? Sure, I would give you some more things also. These Indian origin CEOs who are now the CEOs of some of the global organizations, you will see something very surprising. Almost all of them, even after having pursued their engineering in India's from IITs and like Manipals of the world, they went outside and did something in their post graduation abroad. वो करना पड़ा उनको वहां जाके भी, तब जाके रास्ता सिंपलर हुआ. बट उसका एक व्यू और भी है, that even if you were to pursue Indian MBA, you can eventually move out, you can eventually move abroad. A very good place to start off with is Dubai. Dubai is a very beautiful place for any Indian professional to start their journey of moving towards the West. You get a job, it gives you all European and American level amenities, and you get a feeling of being near home. See, the reason why I'm saying so many things and it's getting stretched is because it is very important. This video is supposed to give you the clarity that you need. Now, let me come to what could be a strategic thought process. And here is the thing. This, my dear friends, is going to be heavily dependent on what is your work ex, and also one more factor which you will see when I start to open these. Work ex पे क्यों है? Because भाई ये तो क्राइटेरिया है ना. अगर आप वर्क एक्स का क्राइटेरिया ही फुलफिल नहीं कर पा रहे हैं तो फिर वो ऑप्शन नहीं है. एंड द सेकेंडरी वन इज समथिंग व्हिच आई शेयर नाउ. नाउ लेट्स टॉक अबाउट द फर्स्ट वन. इफ यू आर अ फ्रेशर और हैव लेस देन 2 years of work experience, then here is the thing. Ask yourself, if you are somebody who's not really fixated on going abroad, ये नहीं कि नहीं अब्रॉड ही जाना है, पैसा है अब्रॉड जाना है, आई हैव टू गो अब्रॉड. अगर ऐसा नहीं है, मेरी बहुत एक सिंपल एडवाइस है, प्लीज go for Indian MBA institutes. It will change your life. The kind of ease of access to jobs, to network, to placements, to everything is so simple. You can make a beautiful career. I have had friends at my IM, which was IM Udaipur. Would you believe it? They were freshers. They are sitting in Dubai. They are sitting in US right now. How does that work? They were freshers because Indian MBA placement system is beautiful. It is beautiful. It launches you into organizations where you can grow and you can go anywhere. Indians can go anywhere. ऐसा कोई मिसकंसेप्शन है बहुत बड़ा कि अगर इंडिया में अगर आपने काम कर लिया बाहर नहीं जा सकते. और अब तो एक और है चीज, ISB has started a 2-year MBA program called the PGPYL Young Leaders, which accepts CAT score. Take that. You have so many options. You have to take CAT, ZAT for XLRI, SNAP for your symbiosis, NMAT for NMIMS. This is my advice. Stick in India. Now if you are fixated on global exposure, अब तुम कह रहे हो global exposure है, मैं अभी भी एक चीज कहूंगा. फर्स्ट वाला जो है यहाँ पे पॉइंट, प्लीज आई वांट योर अटेंशन हियर. स्टिल आई वुड सजेस्ट यू हैव लेस देन 2 years of experience. probably अभी तुम्हें खुद इतना वर्ल्ड व्यू नहीं है. यू आर स्टिल डेवलपिंग योर दिस थिंग. आई वुड स्टिल सजेस्ट यू दैट वन ऑफ द फर्स्ट ऑप्शंस which you should consider for yourself is going for an Indian MBA program. And then if you still have that thing, yeah, you know what, I want to have some global exposure, try hard for an exchange program. How will you try hard? When you get into your MBA, work hard on your academics, because exchange program में जाने की selection आपके academics पे होती है. If you want to know more about academics and exchange program in MBA, check out my course called How to Be School. That is one course which is for MBA aspirants to know what happens inside an MBA program so that you're prepared already what you need to do. But the point which I'm trying to drive home is that the reason why I'm still advocating an Indian MBA program and then you can go there and do the exchange program for 3 months, the reason is because I have a very strong assumption from my experience that students who have less than 2 years of experience, उनको शायद मालूम नहीं है कि वो बाहर जाना चाहते क्यों हैं. They have a fascination. Probably this exchange program can quell that thirst about, I have to go abroad, this and that. If you still feel that, nahi, I'm very sure, then you have your MIM programs. MIM programs abroad are the programs who take students who have less than 2 years of experience. Here, this is not a mistake. You can apply to some very good top universities abroad for their MIM programs using your CAT score. So even if you're an aspirant who has appeared for CAT, you need to know this. If you want a video in which you want me to talk about, यार ये क्या फंडा है, CAT से भी abroad जा सकते MBA और MIM करने, let me know in the comments. I'll make a video on that. You didn't know this, I will inform you now. Second thing is that भाई देखो, as I said already, there are certain MBA programs also, like MBA get Wharton, a top 3 institute. You should check the QS rankings after this video. It's a top 3 institute of the world in MBA. They accept students who are freshers. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. It's going to be difficult because work experience gives you weightage, gives you a lot of things which add to your profile, but you still have these options. This is the sequence of options. In a way, this is also the sequence of options. The reason why I've put ISB, PGP, YL at the spot number 2 is because this is a very new program, started just last year. Probably ho sakta hai when you watch this video after 1 or 2 years, this might be my option number 1 for you. I don't know that yet. That's that. This is for somebody who has less than 2 years of experience. Now, if you're somebody who has between 2 to 5 years of experience, now here is the thing again. Think about it. You need to sit with yourself and ask this question to yourself. Are you fixated on MBA abroad or not? Now, here is something which you need to hear carefully because now things would get very close. Here's the thing. You still have options. 2 to 3 years work experience तो कुछ भी नहीं है यार. MBA schools में Indian normal 2-year MBA programs में there are students with 4 years of experience, 5 years of experience, 2-3 years है तो कुछ नहीं है. I would still suggest if you are not fixated on MBA abroad, please think top MBA institutes in India for their 2-year normal flagship वाले program. मैं ये भी नहीं कह रहा हूँ अभी go for मतलब PGP X and all of वो तो वैसे भी मतलब you can't go because they require 5 years of experience. But still, these are great programs. You get placements, you get awesome ROI. Think India. But now suddenly, because you have more than 2 years of experience, ISB Hyderabad's and Mohali's flagship PGP program, for which you need to attempt GMAT or GRE, even that opens up. तो अब तुम्हारे पास दो ऑप्शन है. हेलो, यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा you have to know. इधर वाले में because less than 2 years है, that was the PGP YL, the new program, which is a 2-year program. This is their 1-year flagship वाला जो program है वो यहाँ पे open हो जाता है. And if you're fixated on MBA abroad, I would still think, as I've said that to you, 3 years, 4 years, even 5 years is not a problem for an Indian flagship 2-year MBA. You can still consider exchange program, but now if you want to go abroad, take MBA abroad with GMAT. Now, if you want videos on this, but wait a minute, I somewhere know my answer, but now I want to know more. Let me know in the comments, and please make a full playlist on it. What exactly you want to know, I will make it. I have so many things to speak about this. Now, here is something which I have to speak to you. This फैसला might not be so simple also. तो अभी मैंने आपको framework यहाँ पे है. If you're still feeling कि नहीं answer मिल नहीं पा रहा है, do one very simple thing. Hello, I need to see you for this. Go down in the description, find my Topmate link and book a call with me because every circumstance could be a different circumstance. तुम्हारे circumstances कुछ ऐसे हो सकते हैं जिससे मुझे समझ के I will give you an advice that okay, whether you should do it in India, whether abroad. अगर इंडिया में कर रहे हो तो क्या B schools हैं ये. So probably this video, while it will give you a thought process, and I have one last thing to talk about if you have more than 5 years of experience because things change over there, but this video, while it will give you a good thought process to think about, if you want specific advice, I could help you on this. Let me know and book a call with me and we could speak about it. Now the last thing is if you have more than 5 years of experience, now things change over here. Now I would not say whether you want to go abroad. Listen, now it's a very simple mathematical equation. It's about evaluation based on your salary and the ROI of that particular institute. Which means what? Which means that if you're talking about MBA in India, you need to take into account this thing that now you have the option of executive MBA in India because I am Ahmedabad's PGP executive program requires 4 years of experience. Bangalore and Calcutta and most other institutes require 5 years. Suddenly with more than 5 years, the 1-year PGPX programs at these institutes make all the sense and they accept only GMAT and GRE. That is what. But the problem here is now that you have only these top 5 or 7 institutes at max, wherein I would actually advise you to go for a PGPX because again, I am also assuming that after 5 years, your salary is a good salary. Suddenly, I would not say कि हाँ एक middle level का है कोई B school, उनके यहाँ पे they have an executive this thing program, so you should go there. I might not advise you that because this is again a call which you need to take basis your existing salary. So effectively, I can give this as a global advice that top 7 institutes will still fare you good. They'll give you a 30, 35, 40 lakh ka salary from a PGPX and then suddenly you also have ISB Hyderabad. तो ये है. So now a change is that now you don't have all the institutes as an option. Now abroad you have everything. Abroad opens up everything. If you want to know what kind of institutes you have abroad, all I would say is that go to the website of QS rankings and you'll be surprised to see what all great B schools you have. My dear friends, this is the decision framework. The reason why I had to take you through all of these factors is because while at the end we took a choice basis our work experience and what we intend to do, but it was not that simple. You had to understand that there are factors. If I am advising you to take an Indian MBA basis your circumstance, uska reason hai because it has standout outcomes. It gives you placements, it gives you exceptional ROI, it also gives you opportunities to go abroad. Indian MBA programs are structured beautifully, but if suppose you are in a circumstance wherein your salary is such and where you have like 5 years of experience, then what are the options? My objective was to give you a thought, what should be your strategic thought process. My dear friends, if there are any more questions, because I can understand that now after this video I've opened up a lot of things which will be going in your head. One thing which you should do is sleep over it, think about it, and if you're still thinking about it, let me know in the comments, or if you want to talk to me one-on-one, book a call with me from my top mate link. You'll find it in the description below. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks a lot. Goodbye.